Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. In today's creative intuitive transmission, I would like to share with you the creation of the day, which was Kahetoni. Kahetoni, that is appearing on my right. This artwork, which is made as always of Japanese washi Chiyogami paper collage, this creation or artwork was actually inspired by two pieces of music, the background that you see behind me, as well as my inner intuition that has to do with my, inner guidance, my higher self. And as usual, we will put all of this information that intuitively we received from the frequency of the music, from the visual elements of the background, but also of the artwork, to discover a form of message, I guess. So if you want a frequency of a high frequency that we can translate, ground, and transmit in try to perhaps absorb in our own life, and may it be a way to guide us very simply to seeing things in another perspective. So today's, as usual, and it's for me, it's always fascinating, and I need to precise this because some people perhaps don't realize this, but none of the music, the background that is chosen, none of the artwork, the papers of the artwork that has been created, and not even what I'm wearing, the colors or the patterns that I'm wearing, none of that is known in advance. I have no control over this. I will wake up in the morning, I will feel like wearing a certain particular piece of clothing and jewelry, and not knowing why. And then suddenly I will start my CIT, I will have the music come in, and then, the background and everything will come out just very, as a whole. It's very interesting in terms of colors and things. So today, as the title of our creative intuitive transmission session is, it's the nourishing the fire of trust in you. And so there was this notion of flames and fires, but not in a negative or aggressive way, and in any way, but it's more fire in the sense of trust, in the sense of powerful high frequencies, and trust in the energy of creative source that is always part of us, since we are fractals of source, and that sustains us and supports us, and to always keep alive within us as a fire, even if we are going through challenges and difficult times. This fire of trust that we are supported by ourselves as a higher self, fractal of source, but also through source. So there was this whole question of fire and flames of intense trust and high frequencies, which came out not only in, again, like I said, it was not decided, but in those colors I'm wearing today, the little amber jewel, and the background that we have behind us. So the background represents this beautiful landscape where there is fog and a lot of shadows of the morning, but then there is this orange fiery color that comes in, and there's something here that could remind us of some sort of a temple, perhaps a more oriental type of temple, maybe in India or something like that, but perhaps it's just fantasy, doesn't really matter. The whole point is that this represents a form of connection to source, or to our high frequencies of source or spirituality, if you want, in that symbol. But also this orange color that emerges out of the shadows, to me, represents this fact that we can always find and nourish that fiery color, that fiery flames of high frequencies that live within us, and that this fire we can maintain and always try to keep alive within our heart, within ourselves, what we would call, staying in high frequencies. So this orangish color, which is quite beautiful, It comes out in the background, again, in the clothing and in the jewel, but in the artwork, obviously, Kahetoni, that we'll describe a little bit later. So when I asked my guidance, which is, my higher self and everything, to provide two pieces of music that would be um, giving us clues. So the first piece of music I got, which is completely random. I never know what's going to come out of this. The first piece of music is from Michel Berger, who is a French, I think he's French. He's Francophone anyway, I don't remember. And he has made a lot of music for movies, for original, I don't know how you call that, original film um, music. Anyway, I can't find a word right now. And interestingly enough, the title of this movie is Tout feu, tout flamme, which in French, in English would mean something like all fire and all flames, which is already interesting. And that movie, the piece of music is actually the title of it is générique, which is the actual title of the credits for that movie, Tout feu, tout flamme, all fires, all flames. And in French, that expression tout feu, tout flamme is actually an expression which means being very vibrant and very energetic and very imbued with a very energetic and dynamic kind of attitude, if you want. So I thought that was interesting in itself. When I looked at the movie, because I didn't know that movie, Tout feu, tout flamme, which is a movie from, I think it's an older movie, like I don't know exactly the date, 70s or 80s or something like that. And the story is not really important in our story here, in our transmission, but I just want to mention the fact that it's about a gambler who's going through difficult times and things like that. So there's that kind of shadow element there that's happening, difficult life situation or conditions. But then there's this element of tout feu tout flamme, which is high vibrations, and so there's a contrast there. So I thought that was interesting. This piece of music is very short, it's instrumental, and there is a bit of a melancholy to it, which is again, it creates a contrast with the title of the movie, Tout feu tout flamme. It's more, there's a little bit of nostalgia there, or a little bit of sadness, if you want, which could be related to perhaps the life circumstances of the character in this movie, which I haven't seen, but just searched a little bit and was reading about. So again, a contrast there between this fiery energy and this difficult situation and nostalgic elements. The second piece of music that was inspired to me by the guidance was a piece of music by Maria de Barros. And I don't speak Portuguese or Crioulo, which is a form of Creole mix of Portuguese and African languages that came originally from the slaves of Africa, which have lived and were on Cape Verde, Capo Verde, which is a region that's islands that's on west of between Africa and Europe. And so this piece of music is called Minada Katem. And I truly apologize again for Portuguese speakers out there. I do not speak Portuguese and I don't understand it, so I don't know how to pronounce it well. But I've looked a little bit at the translation, and the translation was, I have nothing. And so what's interesting about this song, because the song is, again, sang in this mix of, I think it's in this Crioulo language between the Portuguese and African dialects. And what I could gather from the translation I finally was able to find is that it's about, and I'm not going to read the lyrics because it's, it's more the general idea that we want to keep here. It's why so much concern why, yes, I have nothing. I'm poor. I'm, again, these kind of challenging life circumstances. But then why would I do wrong things to people? Why would I hurt people just because I'm going through, these difficult challenges? I could live in the peace of God. Okay, I'm not a religious person at all, but I understand from the context of the song that's basically what's meant there is that, even if I have these challenging circumstances, I might be poor or I have nothing or I'm going through challenging things. Why can't I keep this, or why not keep this within me, this peace of God? Or in the context of our creative intuitive transmission, why not nourish the trust, the fire of trust of source within me? So I thought that was, an inspiring, message in a way, and words. And I also find interesting within this song, and there's a mix of, there's kind of sad words, which are inspiring at the same time. There's a contrast there. But then after that, the music itself is quite upbeat and joyful. I mean, if you didn't know the words, you'd think this is a happy song. But in fact, the words, talk about these challenges. So again, this contrast between a kind of a shadow and a light there going on, between a sort of fiery high vibe and, the shadows of difficult things that happen in life. So I thought these two elements keep coming back, not only in the background here, with this mix of fog and shadows, but at the same time of, the temple and this fiery color, which brings the high frequencies. And within the music, there's also that sad frequency in the first piece of music, but happiness and joy and high frequencies in the second piece of music. And within the words of the second song, there's a little bit of sadness there. And in, the film itself of the first song, there's a little bit of challenging elements. So always these two contrasts that keep coming back. So I think this is really interesting because there is something there in this message, if you want, or in these frequencies, is that we can always, however challenging the elements are, the situations, the life challenges, the life situations, we are always not only invited, but we are always capable, if we make it a priority in our life, to nourish that fire of trust that we are supported not only by the fractal of source that we are, and that we have all the capacities within us to, have that force, that strength, those high frequencies, but obviously we are supported by source, and in that way. So I thought that was all everything was coming together. Then after that, so I created, like I said, the artwork, which is called Kahetoni. For those who don't know, those titles I come up with, I don't come up with them. I don't come up with them. It's actually, again, my intuition and guidance that just suggests a word, an invented word, I guess, because I don't know what that means. And it's probably just frequency of sound that speaks. And so if we have a look at this artwork, so it's interesting to see that those same two contrasts between this fiery, high vibration element and the challenging elements of life are being contrasted. We see in the background paper that was chosen a very busy wave-like, or I would say flame-like kind of energy going on between this red and light cream yellow background, with lots of busy elements of flowers and things. But then there's this, it gives it this fiery, personally I found this flame or fiery feeling to it, where, again, we are invited to trust and to connect with those high vibrations that in this transmission of today are symbolized by the notion of fire and flames in a positive way. And then we have this large central circle, which is black with golden waves. And often in my CITs, when I use when waves are represented, when that motif is chosen, especially on the black background, it often has to do with challenges in life, difficult things. And so there's that element of contrast between the background and the central circle, which really say, okay, in life we have challenges that are represented by the waves. But also something important to be reminded of is that those waves are on a black background, but they're golden. It's golden waves on a black background. So again, for me, gold, as I keep repeating, is always associated with source. And so even if it's waves, it's, if you want, it's the waves themselves are designed in gold, meaning that within those challenges, there is always the presence of source, or there is always within the challenges a jewel there that help us grow and evolve the soul. So challenges are always a gift in a way. So hence the golden aspect of those waves as well. Obviously, with the golden smaller circle up a little bit up, which has the motif of the flower of life, which for me is always associated with source, then this little circle makes the connection between the challenges, which are represented by the large black circle, and a bridge between that and the upper circle, which is red, again signifying this fiery, high vibration energy, which is dynamic and supportive and beautiful, which are also represented by the birds in flight going to the sky. So there's that also that kind of element regarding high frequencies and frequencies of source. So, the source is this connection between the contrast of the fire within us, but also the more challenging elements of life. And then we have these two branches in the lower part, which are a mix of gold and black again, which personally in this context, I would symbolize, or I would tend to associate with the symbolism of an opening, a growth, a betterment, if you want, from the challenges, by associating our challenges to the high vibrations of source, because there's black and gold there, and that through these challenges, through the connection between the fiery high vibes and our challenges, we can open like a lotus flower into growth and evolution in our path. So this is how I personally, iconographically at least, associate the elements that came from the music and from the background in visual terms and with motifs and colors. So I hope this inspires you. So this actual original collage will be made available, is already available on my art shop, online art shop. So it's available as an original collage. But there is also, it's also available in the form of a perhaps a little bit more affordable JPEG digital file, if someone wants to download it and print it later to, again, either put it on your electronics backgrounds or to print it and frame it and bring those high vibrations and this high vibration message, if you want, bring it to your own sacred space, if that's something that inspires you. So now I will leave you to the actual pieces of music. This way you can hear them and feel their frequency, while you'll be shown how this collage was created. And I will leave you also with a few movements that illustrate that element of the contrast between this fire that we need to nourish within ourselves and the challenges that we're facing, and how this can be overcome through that trust and that connection to high vibrations of source and the fractal of source that we are. Take immense care of yourself and high vibes your way. Bye.
tanta preocupação? Se nada nunca tem, me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta magoar? Pra que tanta preocupação? Se me nada nunca tem, me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta magoar? A mim é pobre e confortado, cá mal tadjado, cá mal criado. Já me conforta com minha pobreza. Vamos me nada nunca tem. A mim é pobre e confortado, cá mal tadjado, cá mal criado. Já me conforta com minha pobreza. Vamos me nada nunca tem. Me nada nunca tem. Me nada nunca tem. Me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta magoar? Me nada nunca tem. Me nada nunca tem. Me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta odiar? Tanto ódio, se me nada nunca tem, me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta odiar? Pra que tanto ódio, se me nada nunca tem, me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta odiar? Tu já nunca quer viver nesse mundo, se tu já quer só magoar alguém. Tu quer viver na paz de Deus. Me já me cá querer viver nesse mundo. Se tu gente quer só magoar alguém, querer viver na paz de Deus. É tudo com crer, é tudo com crer, é tudo com crer, é tudo com crer. Viver na paz de Deus. É tudo com crer, é tudo com crer, é tudo com crer. Viver na paz de Deus. Me nada nunca tem, me nada nunca tem. Me nada nunca tem. Pra que tenta magoar?